Good afternoon. My name is Lauwz FIPPS. First of all, I'd like to apologize. I do have a cold, so I may sound a little stuffy. So my name is Lauwz FIPPS. I am a student at Grand Canyon University Cybersecurity Program. Today I will be doing a presentation on the the Fair Information Practice Principle, which in short, FIPPS. So just to give a quick background on what that is. It's the FIPPS is currently is basically a base of recommendation, which was proposed by the advisory committee to the U.S. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare in 1973. That's a quick background. By 1980, they actually changed or evolved into 8 sets of principles that companies to follow. So, one of the first question is, what is my understanding of the FPI? PBS, but after researching and studying the concept of it and doing multiple research on this subject, I think the FBI is a set of generally agree upon create rules that government body use to assess the privacy impact of a new and existing information technology, processes, program, activities. But it's also but saying these things though it is not mandated. It's just a set of guidelines that companies, agencies, especially governments, could use. Anyone that was managing anything that has to do with the PPI, personal information, they should basically recommend that you follow these rules when you're implementing your policy into your business, the government, or any type of agency, and that also include multiple things, and especially the healthcare field, or even nowadays you say social media, right? So all these companies, even though they're social media companies, which mean they're dealing with a lot of data, it is a good idea. It is recommended that they follow these recommended is guidelines. If we are, especially currently, since technology have been really picking up in the amount of data that most companies are collecting on us now. You can see multiple companies like Facebook, Instagram, all these different companies are being fined and getting into certain trouble because obviously they're not following these type of steps. Of a simple way is not getting consent before they sell your data to somebody, or how they store the data, how long they keeping the data for. All that plays a role into this, and following these guidelines would definitely help any company if they follow this recommendation into the policy that they will put into the company. That's basically what it is. This is basically a framework that a company should follow, or agency. And in addition, it will definitely provide a lot of trust. Most people will trust our company or the government or any entity that take this framework and build on top of that, if they're building a policy in regard to dealing with any type of PII. But however, we're gonna move in. There's a few more questions I'm gonna go through here. Although with the PII, with the FIPPS, there's different parts of it. One interesting one is for instance, is the transparency aspect, which is very important, to be transparent, right? To basically open up the door for if someone is, if you have somebody's PII. So best way to put it is that company, agency, government should be transparent about the information, policies, practice with respect to the PII. They should provide clear, accessible notice regarding creation, collection, use, processing, storage, maintenance, and dissemination and disclosure of the PII. That's basically what transparency is. They basically let you know, hey, this is the process that your PII is going through. Your personal information is going through these processes. They're gonna be very transparent about that. You will know exactly what's going on. That's a more simpler way to put it, which is very important, especially when you're dealing with with the government aspect of it, right? To build trust. Transparency is really important. The next part is making sure that that person is that individual is part of the process. That's part of being transparency. Is also part of being trust, right? They're part of the process. The individual agency involved the individual in the process of using PII. To extent practicable, seek individual consent. They will seek your consent for the creation, collection, use, processing, storage, maintenance, diminution, disclosure of the PII. They have to get your consent, which means if I'm gonna give you information to somebody, you part of that process. You have to sign a legal document giving me authorization to do that. Good example is HIPAA, for example. If a patient comes into the hospital, that patient is sick, you have the medical history, right? Now the next doctor need to, let's say you send that patient to a specialist, and the next doctor need that data, that medical data to be able to do his job. You cannot just request it and get it. The patient have to be part of the process where the patient will sign a legal document form, which both parties will understand, and that the next party would you sign a form from the main doctor where you are, releasing the information to the new doctor. So you have to give authorization, sign a document. Sometimes even witness within those forms. There's a witness aspect. I mean, someone who will witness it happen have to also sign, and then now the data could be moved to the next doctor. That's a good example of you participating within that process. They collect the data, they're processing the data, they're disclosing the data, or even if they're shredding that data, you need to know you part of the process. I mean, it would tell you what time and date, how it is being stored, where it's being stored, what is the process, and how long they're gonna keep the data, and what is the process of getting rid of that data. How do you make sure that data is protected? That's all part of the process of participating. The other part is the purpose of specification and user limitation. Agency, company, government, they should provide notice of specific purpose of the PII is collected and should be only used, processed, stored, maintained, diminished, or disclosed to PII for the purpose that is explained in the notice. It is compatible with the purpose for which the PII was collected, or that it is otherwise legally authorized, which means you will be aware exactly what's going on. There's a limit, and they cannot go past that limit. That's basically what it is saying. The agency have to provide you notice saying this is what we're doing, this is the scope, this is how far we're gonna go. That's basically what it is saying. Which means you cannot just take my data and do whatever you want with it. Which go back to what I was saying. Companies, especially social media companies, or other companies that collect data, people are getting in trouble with this stuff. So finding this guideline will be a pretty interesting thing. Okay. In addition, data minimization is another aspect of this too. The agency should only create and collect, process, store, maintain, disseminate, or disclose PII that is directly relevant and necessary. I mean, if I'm providing this data, is necessary to accomplish a legal authorized purpose. It should only maintain the PII for as long as necessary to accomplish the purpose. Again, companies are keeping people's data for too long, and nowadays, if they give you notice, say within 3 months or within a year, your data will be disclosed of this way. They should not keep it unless it's necessary for that, and that you also have to be aware of that. If they keep that data, that is the problem. This framework is saying follow that within your organization and build on that as a framework that would also help you to basically create trust and also follow the law in many aspects. Quality and integrity, really important. Agency, company, organization, government, collect, use, process, store, maintain, diminish, or disclose the PII with such accuracy, relevant, timeliness, and completeness as reasonably necessary to ensure fairness to the individual. That's the integrity part. All these aspects should be followed. Timeliness, very important. Which means if if this needs to be done at this time, this is exactly when it's going to be done. Security. And this is part 2. We'll focus directly on security and accountability and auditing. Agencies should be accountable for complying with these principles and applicable privacy requirement, and should appropriately monitor, audit, and document compliance, which means the company should go through the process of auditing and make sure there's a compliance. That's also part of security. If they're using your PII, agencies should clearly define the roles, responsibility with respect to the PII for all employees, contractors, and should provide appropriate training for all employees and contractors who have access to PII. As we all know, in cybersecurity, one of the biggest problem is about the human, right? Human is one of the biggest weaknesses in any network, any system, any company in regard to security. So yes, training of your contractors, your employees is very important. Your employee have to understand, if I have somebody's information, I cannot just take that information and add it to my personal email, send it over. There's no security. Anyone could get into that private email. Your employee should understand, I cannot put that PII information into a private email that is not secure, or use an open network that is not secure to send that information. All that stuff is done through training. The employee should understand, hey, maybe I should not release the information without getting the proper authorization in the proper forms that is signed by that person, that individual, saying it's okay, and following exactly the company's policies and procedures, right? All that will happen through training. That's a big part of security. It's the human aspect. You have to train your employees and the contractor, because contractors do have some level of access. Now the access may be limited, but it's still access, correct? So yeah, so all those parts, being accountable to the compliance auditing, make sure you're in compliance by following these rules, and through that, security is provided for that PII. And to be very clear, when we go to security, the company should definitely make sure that the technical and the physical safeguard of the PII, a physical security, also the technical security, which means information is in these servers, you need to make sure that server is pretty well secure, and also that the building is pretty well secure. That's part of the security aspect of that too, right? And also that no unauthorized person get access to that information. That's why you create that barrier, right? They cannot get access, modify it, or use it any type of way, because you have that physical barrier of security, and also the technical barrier of security, and also the administrative management. Understand their role, they also have to play within that. But one interesting part though, the FIPPS, it is not a law. The FIPPS addresses a collection use personal information that according to security, transparency, among other things. But it is a basic for many of companies could use as a recommendation. But the FPII are not perceived as legal requirement, whether they are provided as a framework. Again, it is not a law. It's very different from a law. This is a recommendation that they give you and say, follow this framework. It is not the same thing, for example, as HIPAA. Is a good example. HIPAA is a law, and it's pretty much defined all the steps you must follow. That is a law. If you don't follow that law, you're not compliant with that law, you could get a fine. Your company could get in some serious trouble. Certain licenses could be in jeopardy, right? But this framework, if a company chooses not to follow that, that's fine. Because it's not law. It's just a recommendation. It's a guideline. That's one of the big difference, like I say, right? Last part is describe how the FPI can be useful in protecting personal data. Well, from everything we've gone through, I think it's pretty clear that if you use this framework and building your policy, you're definitely protecting our data and providing integrity and providing trust to your customers, your citizens, because this thing is being used worldwide, obviously. It's been around for a long time, this framework. It is not a law, but it definitely can provide a lot of security, management, security. This could play a big part in that, right? It's a powerful framework, you know what I'm saying? Sharing you and also maintaining trust among your customers, your citizens, students, all aspects, right? So based on what we just talked about, I think we got to the point that following this framework could really help any agency, any company, because it provides you all aspects, right, that you would need. And last part, which is security and compliance. So yes, thank you very much for listening to me. See you next time.